welcome back to Six Monkey Martial Arts. My name is Sifu Barber, and today we're going to talk about iron rings. So a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot, but a lot of the people that I've met who train Kung Fu have never really practiced with iron rings. And there's a huge benefit to it that we're going to go over compared to like punching with weights or using weighted gloves, right? And there's pros and cons to everything, of course. So we're going to start off with like using a 7-pound weight. So to begin with, this is about maybe 10 pounds or so worth of iron rings on my arm. This is a 7-pound weight. So when you're doing like a shadow box or practicing your drills, right, working your angles with a free weight in your hand, every time you strike, it does tend to carry you a little bit, right? Because you can't just pull that back. If you're going full speed, right, and you're throwing them, trying to throw fast, right, trying to make sure you're hitting all your proper mechanics, turning those hands over, it does tend to pull you a little bit. And that's bad for two reasons. One, it can easily get you injured. And two, it starts to build bad technique, right? You start to then, when you're not having that free weight, you start to overreach a little bit more, and that's going to cause a problem when you work in your sparring techniques. Okay, good thing is, pros, if you go real light, like a 2-pound weight, it's not going to have that much pull to you, and it is a good option to increase your drills, whether it be forms, line drills, shadow boxing, whatever you're doing. Okay, then we have my favorite, the iron rings. So I like these for a couple reasons. One, the forearm conditioning is awesome, right? So, and especially in Tai Chi where we strike a lot with our forearm and we block heavy strikes with our forearm, you really kind of lose all your feeling there, and hopefully that's a good thing. But it conditions the heck out of it because you always have these metal rings slamming into the back of your hand, slamming into your wrist, right? Every time I strike, right? They're moving and they're sliding up and down my forearm as much as they can. The other thing I like about this, besides the conditioning, is that I have a lot more control. This feels a great deal heavier than that 7-pound weight that I was using earlier. Yet for me to control it, yeah, it tires me out because it is a heavy amount of weight. But over training, over time, I've gotten used to it. But I can control it, right? So if I want to strike and pull back, that weight kind of moves freely on its own. So yeah, I might punch fast, right? I might not punch as fast, but I don't feel that carry, that pull forward like I do with a free weight. Okay. Now the only next option you have, I don't have mine with me here, is a weighted glove. So I have about a 3.5-pound weighted glove that I use. Those are good if you're doing either shadow boxing, because like I said, that's not a lot of weight to really pull you forward for most people. But most of the time you're hitting something with that, right? With rings, you're not really going to hit anything. Same thing with the free weight, because that's not what they're designed for. It's more for training forms, training drill, Hung Gar. I have a good friend of mine that trains Hung Gar a lot. In their iron wire form, they use these to enhance it and for their body conditioning. Packs on an immense amount of strength as well and muscular endurance. But with the weighted glove, you're always hitting something, right? So yeah, it's going to work it's going to get your hand speed up, and it's going to work on a little bit more power because you have to push off more, or you have to use a little bit more strength, a little bit more power, more type 2 muscles to get that power through. But the iron rings are going to be your best option for your average Kung Fu practitioner, or really even any martial arts style that has line drills or forms, which is most of them. Right, so I'm going to put on the other pair here. I use the brass ones personally. I've tried the silver ones and they rusted and just cut up my arm pretty bad. So I prefer these ones. These are brass. Yeah, they tarnish, but other than that, they're pretty good. So now what are you going to do with these, right? So you have them on. Yeah, you can do your line drills, your forms, but from a monkey Kung Fu, from a Tai Chi aspect, right? What are we going to use these for? So yeah, I can use them for my block. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I think something that a lot of people forget when they're using iron rings is that you got to still move with it, right? No martial art is a static martial art. It's just something like this and punching, right, and blocking. It's not really going to benefit you. Yeah, again, you get some muscle benefit, but always stay in the habit of moving when you practice, right? Never just here, punch, right? Some choice, guo choi, right? Start working that footwork in, right? Cutting those angles, changing those levels, right? Making sure that you're always moving on the move, because that's also going to work your stance training and your legs. So something that you can do at home, whether you have iron rings or not. the 4 basic blocks of Tai Chi. We have tall monkey block, stone low monkey block, stone mid, Pak Sao, right, lost monkey middle. Then we're gonna switch. See, as we switch, my leg is gonna follow my arm. 1, 2, 3, 4. Switch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Step back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we're gonna move with them. So we're gonna step 1, sink 2, step out 3, step in 4. Okay. So we got step forward, step back low, step out, step in. Okay. Monkey is very fluid on the feet, always changing levels, and change them in different levels as well. Come down here to your low monkey stance. 1, 2, 3, 4. Step 1, 2, 3, 4. Come up, double. Right? Start training things. Try practicing your strikes with it. After every strike, after every block, do a Jing Choi. So we have tall block, step, Jing Choi. Tall block, step, Jing Choi. We have low block, squat Choi. Back to center. Low block, squat Choi. Hands back to guard. Mid block, step, mid block, Chung Choi. Step, mid block, Chung Choi. Back to guard. Right? Pak Sao. A lot of things you can do with Pak Sao. You can hit Pak, feel towards the eyes. Pak, feel towards the eyes. Back to guard. A lot of different cool things you can do with iron rings. And you don't have to start with a whole bunch. Don't try. Something I did in the beginning is I bought a bunch of rings. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to train this every day. Work your way up with it. Work your way up to 1 or 2. So much easier. So much easier for training. Because you never want to sacrifice your form for anything, right? So anytime I practice, I want to make sure I'm still getting my full rotation. I want to make sure that I can still get proper footwork, right? Making sure every time I move that I'm still have my proper mechanics. Mechanics can't be beaten. There are 2 different sizes of rings, at least the place that I bought mine from. You have a smaller ring, which is I put on last to keep it on my wrist. Then you have a larger ring. Let's bring a little bit closer so you can see the size difference, hopefully. I like the bigger rings because they're a little bit heavier. The smaller rings, I use just kind of like an end cap. My hands are kind of big, so it's hard to get off. But you can usually, after you're sweaty enough, they'll come right off. All right, that's it. That's all I got for you guys for today. Have a great Sunday, and we will see you next week. Train safely and wisely.